Today we're going to be trying on the new Dashing Diva Glaze Extensions. These are a flexible, partially cured gel strip that you put on your nail and then cure it under an LED light. Let's see if these actually work. Included in the box are 30 nail strips, and keep in mind these 3 are just for illustrative purposes only. These are not ones you're going to use. So inside we have our 30 gel strips. We also have a scraper tool. This is a tool that comes with their gel remover polish kit. So I think this is only going to be used to help you remove the nails. We have a file, we have 2 prep pads, instructions, and then something that is really new, and this is going to make or break the experience. This is the anti-stick sealant. So this is something you're going to put on after we're done underneath the nail to remove any tackiness. Like I said, we're gonna see if this actually works. Okay, I'm gonna begin the process of finding my perfect nail shape. Just like all of the glaze and the gloss strips, you need to find something that's not too big for your nails. So if you're in between sizes, you're supposed to go down. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through these, find all 10 of my nails, and then we'll get started. Once you find your perfect size, what's cool is each individual nail you can separate it and set aside the ones that are not gonna work. So I'm guessing that helps you preserve the other ones because they are kind of sealed in this plastic. My pinkies are going to be an experiment because I have 2 very different size and length pinkies, and this one is thin enough, but it's going to be pretty short, so we'll try that out. One thing to note, you might want to also have a pair of scissors on hand just to cut these apart because I actually opened this one trying to pull it apart. All right, let's get started applying these. All right, steps are pretty simple. Prep with one of these pads, which I'm going to do. Then it says size. Then we're going to remove the film that's over each one as we apply them, cure them, and seal them. I'm going to use this tool just to gently push down my cuticles. I don't know if this is what it's for, but it seems to be working great. So I'm really glad that I took the time to read the directions because there is this note that says these smaller LED lamps that come with their glaze strips is not strong enough to cure these. You need the specific lamp that comes with it, or I happen to have this more salon style one, so I am hoping that this is powerful enough to fully cure it. So my mistake, I thought you could use the lamp that you might already own. You can't. So now we're just going to peel this apart, and there is an arrow at the top. I don't know if you can see, you can probably see a little better. There's an arrow right here. Obviously, this is the French tip, so it's pretty easy to see what direction to apply. So I think I will peel it from the top because I want the majority of the stickiness to adhere to my nail, and place, and then mold it to the finger. And it does feel similar to the glaze strips, but maybe just a little bit stronger. Okay, 1 on, 9 to go. All right, now I'm gonna try my little pinky here, which might be a little tricky. I always personally like to work from the outside in, and I leave my index finger and my thumbs for the very last on both hands. Yeah, this is not going to be too much longer than my actual nail, but that's okay. I'm actually finding these a little bit easier to place because they are a little stiffer than the glaze strips. So we'll see if I end up getting them. I mean, I think I'm getting them on pretty evenly. Now let's try applying them with my non-dominant hand and we'll see how we do. Okay, we're down to the last nail and oh my goodness, these are quite long for me. So this is going to be funny to see if I can actually do anything with these nails on, but. Now this thumb, I feel like I got maybe a little bit of an air bubble. I've been trying to work that out, but I don't feel like I had that issue with any of the others. I'm just going to go through and really make sure they are completely adhered, and then I will cure them. It says 60 seconds, and then it says if they're still soft, cure them again. This one is a problem because it is too small and there just seems to be a pretty big gap. So let's see if I can gently remove. All right, that didn't take too much to get that off. I'm gonna try a slightly bigger one. Hopefully it's not too wide. They say not to cut these. You can file them, but not cut them. So let's hope this is not too big because can't trim it down. Right to the edge of the nail, but I think I need that for this one. Okay. I think we are as hardened as they're gonna get. I always feel when I first put on long nails that I'm a little insecure about how strong they are, but they do seem to be hardened. So now let's go with the final step. And I mean, it doesn't seem like they're real tacky under here, but let's go ahead and do this step just to be sure. Okay, here we are. They are fully cured and that solution has dried and they do not feel sticky at all underneath. They are quite long for me, Miss Piano Player, and definitely are only something that I'm going to be able to probably keep on for a week because I'm gonna have to play in church next week. So for now, though, they do feel cured and hardened. It's gonna take me a while to get used to the extra length. I do feel like overall these went on super easily. The only thing that I would definitely consider next time is actually getting the LED lamp that comes with this because it allows you access from the other side so you can actually shape the nails a little bit more as they're curing. And in the salon one that I have, obviously I can't do that. So that's just a little note. But overall, I think they look really pretty. Let's see how they wear. First update on the nails. I have already chipped one and popped one off. So, and it's only been about 5 hours, but I'm not going to be too hard on it yet. I was filming, I was moving stuff around, not being super careful, but you know, it's kind of how I live my life. I need these nails to hold up. So just popping in here with this initial just issue. I'm going to go ahead and replace that nail and we'll hope that these things last a little longer than a few hours. All right, I am back and it is time to talk about how these nails have worn. We're also going to remove the nails and see what kind of damage, if any, is left over. So as we talk about how these nails have worn, I do have all 10 of them on, but this was not without a lot of effort to get here, and we're only 2 days in. The very first day, I had 5 of the nails pop off at various points throughout the day. I replaced all 5 of those nails, but before doing so, I actually went in and filed the nails gently with a nail file that's included in the kit. I did that first, and that's something that they do recommend you doing. I didn't do it originally, but I did it after each one of those popped off. Then I went in with a fresh new nail, cured it, really pressed it on as well as I could. And then the next day, I had 3 more nails individually pop off, 2 of which I had already replaced the day before, 1 new one. So I went digging through my stash of nail supplies and found some nail glue. And I put those back on my nail because when they come off, they're actually really nicely formed. There's no weird, gross glue stuff that's on there. There's a little bit of tackiness left over, but there's no glops of glue. So I thought, well, maybe these will stick better if I glue them back on. And I feel like those nails did stick a little bit better. So therefore, here I am on day 3. It's really only been 48 hours, but this is day 3. And while I think they look pretty, I'm ready for them to come off. I can't do anything with them. I know that's part of the game, so to speak, or part of what you understand and take on when you have longer nails to begin with. But if you don't have confidence that they're not going to break with the littlest bit of pressure, like I'm even afraid to dig in my purse because I've lost a couple nails doing that. So therefore, I'm going to take these off today. I got to clean my house tomorrow. It's not going to be practical. So there is potential that some of them might make it 14 days, but since I've already lost and replaced more than half of them, I'm not willing to go a full 14 days or even a full week to see how many times I have to replace them. So let's wrap this up with some constructive thoughts here. First of all, I think this is a very inventive type of product. I do love the concept of being able to mold it to the shape of your nail. I think that was really helpful. You know, they didn't hurt on the nail. You're not having to deal with glue, you know, sticking your skin together, all of that stuff. So I think this is a great concept. However, I think it needs a few tweaks. First of all, the adhesion on the strip itself needs to be stronger. It seems like they just used the same adhesive product that they use on their glaze strips. And that works okay on those because you don't have this added length that's putting pressure on that adhesive. But I don't feel like the adhesive on these extensions is nearly strong enough. It needs to be much stronger. Secondly, I personally would love a few length options. So these were actually what seemed to be a little bit of the shorter length ones they offered. These were the square oval shape, and these are just like really long for me. And they say you cannot trim them. You can only file them. So that brings me to the next issue that I ran into. I started getting some chips. This one, in fact, chipped pretty noticeably, and so I had to file it down. It did file okay, but I was left with this kind of gumminess that I actually had to bring in scissors to cut off. So they did not file down very well. So giving us a few options as far as length would also be helpful. I think the way that they packaged these is very well done to preserve kind of that gel consistency. And I do feel like these did kind of form pretty well to the nail. However, my final criticism with this is the fact that their regular UV lamp is not strong enough to use on these. So I had to pull in my salon grade lamp to do it unless I wanted to purchase their other lamp. So it would really be great if they could solve that issue as well, making it a little less of an investment for those of us that already own those mini LED lamps. If they could make that work with this product, that would be great. But overall, I think it's a great concept. We just need better stay power. Now, with the lighter staying power option, it does make them a little easier and more forgiving to get off the nail. So as we finish this video, I'm gonna go in with one that I did not actually glue on my nail. And I'm gonna see if I'm using the tool that comes in the kit. And then it says you can use cuticle oil, or they do have a remover gel that you can use. I think I do have a cuticle oil somewhere, but I typically, if I'm removing the glaze strips, I will just go gently around the edge And if they're not releasing, I'll just put in a little drop of coconut oil or almond oil, and that will help release it from the nails. So for example, I'm just gonna put a little bit of that oil and then push that under the nail, and it came off very easily. So again, this was not one that I went back and glued on the nail. So you can see when it comes off, it's very clear. So technically you might be able to get a reuse out of the nails if you can find them as they pop off and glue them back on, because my glued on ones, they're staying a little bit better, but even still, this is probably the other part that I forgot to mention that I don't love is they're too thick at the base of the nail. And so I'm catching even my short hair and fuzz and things like that on these nails, and that starts to drive me nuts. But you can see how easily that just pops off with one drop of oil, and I don't have any damage on those nails. Now, if you go in with aggressive filing on your natural nail before you apply these, you're gonna have a little more probably damage. I'm gonna check out these two nails. Now, these are ones that I glued on, and you can see how much more resistance there is to coming off. Let's see if I can get it off with a little bit of this oil. So I do think that this remover tool is really nice because it fits kind of the shape of the nail, and you can just push the nail gently off. So yeah, this one with the glue, I've got glue to clean up. So it is nice not to have to worry about that glue cleanup afterwards. But again, we need a stronger adhesive product to keep the nails on more than a few hours. So that wraps up this video. I will link down below, and actually here on the screen, I will link the other videos that I've done about the other Dashing Diva products, because I still love the gloss strips and the glaze strips. Those are my top two favorite products from them. I did also review their gel polish that came out last year. I will link that video down below. Thank you as always so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you, gave you some new insights into this product, and hopefully we will see Dashing Diva take some notes maybe from this initial launch and go back to the drawing board and give us maybe a better product in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.